You know, the name that kind of kept surfacing in my head during some of these tracks was Malcolm Young. I totally heard the AC/DC rhythm guitar as like a kind of like a specter and influence like injected into things into the kind of into that today's the day vocabulary that is like still there, but just like what you were saying with just like the heavy chords and just letting keeping it simple and just keeping it crashing.
Well, and you know what's funny about that whole thing is that when I was a little guy, like that was probably about like 12 years old, I had never even heard rock music before. Like my parents were country music, like hillbillies,
Oh,
and we lived out in the middle of nowhere, and I didn't have any friends. I was a big fat kid with no friends and a dog that was my best buddy, and
that's awesome.
only music I would hear would be whatever they played. So like they'd be playing Patsy Cline and Hank Williams and Conway Twitty and George Jones and blah blah blah. And the whole time I'm, thinking, oh well, this is the way music is, oh holy shit. And I'm sure some people would be like, yeah, but you had to have either walked in a store or like had the radio on in the cars, and it's like, no, because we're talking about like from like 1975 to like 19 like 80 or whatever. Like they didn't have no Black Sabbath or like
No.
whatever playing on the radio back then. So the strongest shit that you would probably hear like at that time would just be like, I don't even know, like Creedence Clearwater Revival or something like,
Sure.
and so suddenly one day this kid down the street from me named Jamie Fannin, he puts on Back in Black and plays it, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, and the very first song, obviously Back in Black that comes on, that dude comes in like screaming, and I'm listening to that shit and I'm like, oh my god, like this man is completely insane. Like what is he doing? Like and then the music sounded so electrified and like just so hard rocking, and I'm like, god damn it, like I feel like this. Like this is completely crazy. I hate my life. I live in the country. I have no friends. I'm a big fat ass kid. I have a fucking dog that's a wild dog that I found underneath the floor of a abandoned house out in the woods. And meanwhile, it takes AC/DC coming on to suddenly like make me realize like there's more to life than like hanging out with your parents and listening to fucking old people music. And then to like really blow my mind more, he pulls out a Les Paul copy guitar, and I swear it was like the shit was in slow motion. Like the album is spinning on the turntable. He pulls out the guitar, takes a 1/4-inch cable, sticks it in the jack, plugs it into this tiny little PV Bandit or some kind of little amplifier, turns it on, has distortion turned all the way up on the knob, and then starts fucking playing along with that while it was going. And like moment of mind blownness part two is I'm thinking like, oh my god, not only is that fucking music you're playing absolutely insane, but you can fucking do it too. And if you can do it, I'm just as smart as you are. I can fucking probably do it. So I seriously, got to God, went back home, and I got these Columbia Records, like things where you pay 1 penny and you
Oh,
get
sure.
20 albums or something like that. So I got like 8 of those, and I ordered every single AC/DC album that had been made to that point, every single Black Sabbath, every single Judas Priest, every single Deep Purple, fucking every one of them that you could think of that's like a classic rock album but mainly AC/DC was the first deal that showed up in the mail. And I'm not kidding you. I sat down and learned how to play every single part of Back in Black from beginning to end, so that as a performance, I could put that damn album on and go to my dad like, "Hey, check it out!" Like, bah, and like play the whole thing, take that off, put Highway to Hell on, play the whole thing, and then once I got through learning all that shit, then I grabbed Ozzy, like Blizzard of Oz and all kinds of other shit, and started getting into that and playing that, and then eventually, like, you know, it was almost like there was a turning point where I didn't like I didn't really care about necessarily playing other people's songs, because
Sure.
because I kind of taught myself how to play like hard or heavy rock by doing that as a youngster, and so that was it, that fulfilled its purpose of like, okay, now we know like kind of how you do this shit or whatever. So what do I think, or like what am I feeling? What do I want to do? And then that's when the style that I play like today kind of really started. And that style was troublesome, because when I was like probably 18 years old and I go try to join bands or play with other kids, they didn't understand like at all like why the fuck I was playing like what I was playing or whatever, and I, you know, didn't really have an excuse for it other than that's just what I'm thinking and that's what I want to play. And
They want to do cover songs.
They wanted to do cover songs, and I remember that I'll never forget when I tried out for the first band that I was ever in. Those idiots tried out another kid the same day as me at the same time, almost like a rock-off. like we've got these two tarred kids that are now going to play guitar with the bass player and the drummer and the singer, and whoever plays the best is going to get to be in the band or something like. And so I, you know, I'm sitting there and I'm trying to be friendly and nice to the other kid that was going to play, and I started playing a bunch of shit, and he turned around at me and goes like, "Man, ain't nobody gonna want to listen like dance to no shit like that. It's like you gotta like play shit that's like in excess, man. If you want to like have chicks dig you." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, you know, and it's just so hilarious because for whatever reason, those dudes ended up saying like, "Yeah, like, do you want to play with us?" and blah blah blah. And then I proceeded to make up like this, like the only way I could say was like the first songs that I made up and played with a band were like, if you took like Bauhaus's harshest moments and then cross that with like Judas Priest or something like that, or like total like gothic death like type of music, like that was psychedelic as holy shit. And then those guys were like, "Oh wow, like this is crazy, like like what kind of shit is this you're playing?" And like, you know, I'm like, you know, and I'm like, I don't know, you know, and like, you know, but like, you know, it finally kind of all came together for the way that things are now. Like, because after that band, like, I ended up like searching for dudes because I couldn't find any dudes like anywhere, and I even moved to a different state. I was living in Michigan, in Detroit, and I decided that I'd move to Nashville to try to find dudes down there because that's where I grew up at. And you know, once
Is that
I got
where you
down,
are now, by the way?
No, I'm in Maine. I live in Maine.
Okay.
I'm definitely living like the road up in Maine. Like I'm in a cabin by the wood in the woods, like out in the middle of nowhere. And but anyway, you know, so that band was called Alien in the Land of Our Birth, and basically me and those guys, like, you know, wanted to put together some challenging technical like heavy shit. And thankfully, the drummer from that band, that was the drummer from Today Is the Day for the first 3 albums, Brad Elrod. Me and him, like, musically hit it off and fit like a glove about playing music together, and kind of had the same, like, he plays drums like the way I was telling you that guitar rolls in my head. Like, if you gave Brad drumsticks and said, here, like, play some drums for me, it's like, it would be like Billy Cobham gone insane, and it's not him trying to do that, of going like, here, I'm going to blow your mind with my musical expertise and odd times. No, it's actually that's just the way he knows how to play, and trying to force him over into some 4 on the floor type groove. That would be like trying to teach him Chinese or something all of a sudden. Like he wouldn't even understand it, you know. And so we liked that. Like, it made things real easy for me and him. And so we basically just, you know, started writing away, and, you know, probably about within 1 year of doing that, we got offers from TVT and
Really? TVT?
Alternative Tentacles, fucking, goddamn, AMREP and Earache, and all at the same time, and we were kind of going like, God, this is really weird. It's like we live in Nashville, like the world's most uncool city for like hard rock or metal or music or whatever. And weirdly enough, like the record label that signed Nine Inch Nails, and that's TVT, and then Jello Biafra wrote me a handwritten letter from Alternative Tentacles, and then the guy from Earache, and every, you know, they're all like, hey, like, we, you know, are interested in this, and, you know, and so then we wound up basically declaring to each one of those labels, like, if you can understand that we're going to play exactly what we want, and you can't say anything about it, like, you can't tell us to where to record, the way you want it to sound, how long is this or that, or like what the subject matter, what we're saying, or if we can just do exactly what we want to do 100% without any intervention from you, then we might consider working with you. And a couple of them did not like that, and we're like, well, that's not really like cool, because like we're going to pay for everything, and like and then we X them off the list. And then when we got to AMREP with Hazelmeyer, who's still to this day like one of my closest friends, he was like, you know, I don't give a shit what you do. Like just, you know, I like the band and I like what you guys play. So as far as I'm concerned, you guys just go make the shit up, and then I'm the one who's going to sell it. And I was like, hey, that sounds like a pretty good plan. Like that works out pretty good for me. So consequently, you know, we ended up starting that off, and had a lot of luck with critics and reviews and stuff like that, and some really good tours early on with like Helmet and the Melvins and stuff like that, and then the whole thing just, you know, kind of kept going down the road, and that kind of brings us through skipping a lot of stuff in the middle.
Sure.
Like,